Good morning, everyone. Good morning from Finland, anyway, whatever hour it may be for you. Um, I appreciate that some of you, in different broadcasts, you take on the inconvenience of the hour. But of course, it's always possible to pick up uh, the program once it's up on our website, um, or maybe YouTube. You can maybe review these if you'd like to. I guess, when we're into this kind of work, it's very different from the work of learning the details of the ageless wisdom and trying to apply them. We're in an entirely different realm. We might say this is one program where we change realms. And we're going to deal with it today. We're changing from the realm of number, which is the habitual realm in which we myopically live, into the realm of no number. And that's a difficult realm to enter, but it is the realm in which the masters and the Chohans and those even far beyond their development, they have entered that realm without deviating from the practical work in the realm of number. So, that's the kind of thing to keep in mind as we are working through this kind of lecture meditation that I frequently give. I thought to myself, can I give a lecture? Well, yes and no. Can I give a meditation? Well, yes and no. So basically, it's a combination of the two. I would like to welcome you. Of course, at this hour, we pick up people in the Far East and in the South Pacific, But anyway, and Veronica, hi, and Anna, and Annette, and Leslie, Martine, Mary, and Nesa, Shriyantra, and Tiu, right here in Europe, and Vicky, and Maria Helena. Welcome. So, when you join a little bit later, I know it's beyond welcoming you, but you're always welcome. Okay. So we're going to get right into our meditation. Things are heating up for us here because the virtual conference is coming, and we feel the pressure, and Atuya and I and the others will probably suspend for a time our programs, except, the full moon programs and, the absolute necessities. We'll suspend them as we all dig in, preparing for our basically 12-day conference with a lot more to go before it and after it as well. So just have a little heads up there. We're not abandoning you. We're just getting ready for a quite an extensive offering. And this year, on the Great Illuminator, the fifth ray. So keep that in mind with your scheduling, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up, even if you can't necessarily be there at all hours, you'll be able to pick up the programs. We'll have a place where the programs that we offer, the lectures and, discussions or whatever, are also running concurrently, or they're in another place where at a more convenient hour you can pick them up. Okay. All right, friends, we're going to get into our pondering. So let's come together in a sense of the group consciousness and the group being. And wherever we are in the world, you can really kind of feel that happening. We're all part of this group field. And our presence with each other may assist in bringing more living experiential clarity to our consciousness. So when you think of the term, the word we use, the term another or other, what do you think of? Just question yourself. What do you think of when you think of another or other? Probably sentences in which you use those terms will give you the idea, here comes another one. Oh, did you see the other one? Another and other. Now, think of the relationship between another or other and the concept of number. We have to say to ourselves, what is number? And how do another and other relate to number. We certainly do seem to live in a number-filled world. In the old days, the number 2 was rejected as problematic and even evil because it was the generator of irrationality, the apparent, at that time, irrationality of infinity. And of course, it's related to all dualism. And it must be obvious that we are choosing in this kind of program to enter into a non-dualistic approach. So, to what extent do I take the existence of number for granted as if it were a reality? And I dare say that many of us absolutely take number for granted. Think about the people on the third ray that are buying and selling, and think about the abstract numerical procedures that are going on with respect to the stock market all over the world. Number rules their life. The more or the less of their life. But from the esoteric point of view, we know that cyclically, number passes away. HBB, Madame Blavatsky spoke about the realm of number and the realm of no number. sometimes it's hard to differentiate between the number one and the absolute zero of no thing. And yet when we think about it, it becomes a one. So, it can be asked seriously of any of us. Our language, of course, is all based on number, but I will go back and forth between these two realms, discussing them. Do you find that you ever live in the realm of no number? And we'll say in universe, or this is an in universe question. You find that you ever live in the realm of no number, universal no number. And in a way, this is to live in the realm of the one. The universe is not a zero. If everything were to suddenly freeze and no movement were to occur, including the movement of your own perceptions from thing to thing, would you be living closer to the realm of no number? I do think so. And I think some kind of perception generated upon the seed of spirit in the heart would take over. The single eye, the single heart would be one way of characterizing that. So if you can have those moments, obviously when you speak of moment, you're speaking of number, but we can't help it. We have to talk about no number as if from the realm of number. if you can do that, then can another or other really exist? That's the question. Can another or other really exist, or maybe we put it a different way, really be real? Existence maybe can be connected with Maya, but we use words sometimes inexactly. So can another really be real, really exist in our usual way of using the word? That is, to be present to our perception. So what would your perception, um, your registration of anything be like if there were no other? If there were no another. Really, really ponder that. What would your perception, your registration, your living in the world of apparent number, what would it be like if there really were no other? As in the latter books of the Yoga Sutras, would the world, by that I mean anything you can perceive, would that all be taking place within you? You probably realize that we're dealing with the habitual effect of the great heresy of separateness. Now, can you register? I sometimes use the word see, but register seems to be the word for any kind of lower or higher impression, sense impression or impression of another or anotherness or otherness. So can you register another human being and meaningfully say to yourself, no other. This is no other. This registration is not of another. Let's try that. It's not at all the usual registration. We're always apparently meeting, registering something other. We say, oh, I just met somebody I didn't know. When I met another person and another and another. But what if you don't have to be victim of that illusion? Can you register anything and meaningfully say to yourself, no other? Anything. It really requires getting spiritually, monadically, beingly inside the apparent other. Regardless of apparent diversity. And there'll be a turn. A subtle change. From otherness to non-otherness. I would say here, watch for subtle change from apparent otherness to non-otherness. We can call it, and it has been called, the blinking of the dragon's eye. The blinking of the dragon's eye. And it can come upon you suddenly, or, well, in an unexpected manner, or deliberately, which is what we're trying to do here. We might say, in the thinking of most people, the universe is the great other. You know, there is I, and then there's the universe. But, or the world. But we want to find the non-otherness of the universe. We want to include the universe within ourselves, the one self. That's what we want. So let's experiment, going through the kingdoms of nature, and use your imagination. So try this mode of self-identificatory perception with the animal kingdom. Just approach the animal kingdom. Look, I'll give all of you a chance to talk, of course, and to write whatever. So write down what you want to talk about, I'll get to it. Use your imagination and try this mode of self-identificatory perception with the animal kingdom. Whether you choose a single animal or a species or the whole thing, kingdom by kingdom. The non-otherness of the members of the animal kingdom. And, well, you can do this on your own, of course. It's a good exercise. Let's use the imagination and do this with a kingdom a little farther away from the human kingdom, the plant kingdom, the vegetable kingdom, the non-otherness of the members of, whether it's one or all, of the vegetable kingdom. The mystics used to say, don't let this item, this perception fall out of God. That, even the insect in God is worth immeasurably more than any valuable thing out of God, exiled from non-otherness. So we don't want a world of many things in exile. We want them in the one and only self and as the one and only self. Let's go to the mineral kingdom. It's quite remote, it would seem, from the human kingdom. When we look at a great mountain or rock formation, or even just a stone, can we look at it in non-otherness? Alice Bailey wrote about the consciousness of the atom, a fascinating subject. And we're going to take that into a peculiar language, the non-otherness of the atom and of any atomic particle. I suppose when we go into a rock shop where, all those different kinds of Stones and even jewels are all polished up. You know, they glow, they seem to radiate. Are they rubies? Are they sapphires? Are they emeralds? Are they topaz? Amethysts, lapis, you know, the many sort of precious stones and precious jewels, they seem to live. Maybe it's easier to include them. Esoterically, the non-otherness of the diamond soul, the jewel in the lotus. Matter of fact, we can go into the kingdom of souls, the non-otherness of the members of the kingdom of souls. You see, it's the eradication of that illusory demarcation called the boundary. The first fundamental of the secret doctrine begins that way, speaking of the boundless, immutable principle. Let's imagine that we can perceive angels. Jeffrey Hodson's book, The Kingdom of the Gods, is very good for that. Can we find in ourselves, in the one self we are, can we find through infuception the non-otherness of the angels, of the, let us even be specific, of the solar angel? There's always such a tendency to say, oh, a higher being, oh, a lower being, which is myopically correct, but not essentially correct. So hoping for the blinking of the dragon's eye, we can extend our thoughts out into apparent space and find planets that are non-other and stars that are non-other and constellations and so forth, all of them non-other. We can almost say, different ways of saying things sometimes help. Be the beingness of whatever. And probably some vibration of spirit within the heart will be the indication that you are being the beingness of the apparent other. So, in summation, there is no other, even when there seems to be. There just is no other. Now we have to master the world of apparent otherness. This is Maya, and yes, the space probes that are going out beyond Pluto, they are great achievements and part of this mastery of the apparently other, and there'll be untold examples of the mastery of the apparent other. When we conquer a disease, as is such a current concern, when we heal or contribute to the healing of other people, apparent others, when we deal with multiplicity in a way that archetypalizes multiplicity, yes, we must archetypalize multiplicity. That's what we do from universe to universe. Yes, we have to do that. And at the same time, never lose the one self that is the essence, the cause, the basis, the very substance of the arising of multiplicity, as essentially illusory as multiplicity may be. So it's all back to the one and the many. illusorily we are the many, and really we are the one. And we have to be both. There is no other, even when there seems to be. Otherness is an illusion, okay, but a necessary illusion. Naught is but me. Naught is but me. Naught is but me. You know, three is the charm, and when you want to call someone on the inside, you repeat their name 3 times. And we'll take up later, what would the illusion of otherness mean to you? What does it mean to you? Or what does overcoming it mean to you? We'll take that up at some point. Oh. Okay, y'all. Y'all others. Y'all none others. Let's take a look at what you may have written down, and if you want to speak, you can let me know. So Raz is saying that if you live in the realm of no number, while in this world of numbers, how would it be? Well, you're asking the same question I'm asking, Raz. That's the question I really want to take up, and I would be remiss if I tried to give the answer that would come to you as an emanation of the one. So let's take that up. Let's take up what it would mean to us, maybe next time. We are, getting near the conference, so there's going to be a little bit of instability with respect to these programs as we prepare to give you the full conference dose. And here you're saying, let's see, but that's the question, Roz. That's why do it? Why even try? Unless, of course, it comes upon you. It just comes upon you, and suddenly, oh my, there it is. The dragon is keeping his eye more and more open. The dragon of wisdom, we mean, wisdom's eye, the single heart, the single eye, and the single perception. So here is inner stillness comes and goes, yes. So we can touch the oneness, but not permanently, and that's our condition. And maybe that's why Master Kuthumi in the Mahatma letters, at least a letter of tribute to him, it struck me when I read it, said that meditation is our holiday. What's a holiday? Usually you're relieved of the normal pressures that hold you down to earth and involve your consciousness in a lot of must do, and holds you in a Saturn-like way into limitation. So yes, I absolutely agree with you. It comes and goes. But there's a great hint here about inner stillness. Stillness, yes, yes. And that's why I said, what happens if you freeze everything imaginatively? And it's no idle mantra that has come down to us when we hear, be still and know that I am God. Is that I another? So someone packed into that mantra a lot. But then what does it mean to be still? I mean, you can be still in the midst of apparent movement. Your heart is going to beat unless you know how to create suspended animation, and your lungs will breathe and things will move in your body. And in spite of those perceivable movements, does stillness prevail? So it is said of the Christ, and I'd like to find it. I know the person who found the reference, but I never tracked it down, uh, that the Christ is endowed with calmness, forever unperturbed, undisturbed calmness. Sounds a lot to me like the stillness in the face of all change. Now, the second ray heads in that direction. Obviously, we all have a lot to cultivate along those lines to achieve calmness, forever unperturbed. But the day of permanency will come, and it has come repeatedly, forever. That's the astonishing thing. If the great breath is a existential reality, then the permanence of oneness has been repeatedly achieved by all emanations in every repeating cosmos. You're on the borderland of something, or maybe of no thing. You can feel the borderlandness of your consciousness. It can flip from number to no number. You just have that deeply, spiritually, instinctually, intuitively instinctual sense that the flip can occur, and has repeatedly forever. When you start thinking about forever, you get into you get into the kinds of things that the concrete mind can't grasp. It just falls back incapable. But still there, because the essence is all of us, we are forever prompted into the realization of the foreverness of the essence, which is being, beingness, absoluteness, whatever we will call it, which is just, of course, a sound. Realization is a lot more than a sound. Maybe on the atomic plane, there's the fifth level, and it's called realization, and you kind of wonder, realization of what? Realization of the plan of God? Maybe, because that's where the plan is conceived, atomic level, or where it really begins to work out with spiritual will. Sri Yantra is saying, how I see it, the word "an" always means one, and other means more. So one more, ad infinitum, is that it is therefore so inclusive that it ends the apparent duality of the two words. I think, okay. Eternal one more, eternal inclusivity. Therefore, one only. And it's a good analysis. And you're pointing to it, it's an article, an article. Even the word article means a particularity. And other is one more, but in the realm of non-duality, there just never is one more than beingness. There can be nothing else. So people talk about multiple universes and all that. Well, yes, multiple points of tension and so forth. But these universes are all arising from beingness, than which there is no other. Now you there are questions about absolute infinitude. Does it go on forever? And you have to say it does, and yet it can be embraced by the transcendental deity, the trans-universal deity, as somehow complete in its ongoingness, complete in its boundarylessness, all containing, and yet a reflection of that than which there is no other. Absolute infinitude, I've hypothesized anyway, is an articulated reflection of the trans-universal deity, which is that than which there is no other. Of course, absoluteness is in another and final category. But I suppose what we want to do is figure out how this kind of perception, which goes beyond our normal mental analysis, what it will do to the quality of life in Maya. We are forever cyclically in Maya. That's what Shankara says. There's no escape and no release. Forever cyclically Maya. Maya is most mysterious, he says, and forever. So while in time, and according to the great clock, which is the great breath, while we live in Maya, we have to know what non-Mayavic realization can do to our living in Maya. How does it, practically affect the inevitable living in Maya? No master is going to let us get away with the utterly mystical assertion that the absolute is the absolute is the absolute is the absolute. There is a universe, Mayavic though it be, and there is an articulated absolute infinitude, which is the realm, I call it, of super Maya. And those are just words. But the master is practical. I remember Master Moria saying, we have to develop such practicality as to be able to deal with a block of ice, he said. Well, obviously the block of ice is the frozen world. So what difference does all of this speculation really make? Because in the world of better and worse, which is not the world of being, but is the world of Maya, we have to get better in this world of Mayavic better and worse. We have to archetypalize Maya. And the archetype that we're going to copy or use is an extract from absolute infinitude, which is the reflection of the trans-universal deity, which is the exudation of absoluteness without changing absoluteness at all, the ultimate mystery. If there is no other, then there is only the everything as one, I would say. The everything as one substance. See, when you look at divisions, the minute there's division, and even in absolute infinitude, there is division, you know you're looking at something that is Mayavic, even if it's super universal Maya. There's the Maya of the finite universe, every one of them finite, and there's the Maya of the super universal absolute infinitude. That's a Maya too. So basically, you have to turn everything into nothing. You have to turn perception into infuception. You have to turn the many into the one. All of these are kind of these turnings are acts of consciousness. So there is everything possible, and nothing is impossible in supra-universal absolute infinitude. At the same time, there is ontological homogeneity. Ontological homogeneity, the oneness of be-ness, out of which every division and articulation arose. I mean, out of which the everything arose. And, here's, the utter simplicity of it. I agree, Leslie, that realization of things as they are. Well, that may seem a very simple thing. But mostly our realization is of the many things as they are not. Now, in Maya, we can say from the conventional point of view, things as they appear are things as they are. We study things, the garment of God, and we know it's all an appearance, but we say, yeah, this is how it is. But all things, when they are as they are the one thing, which the divine Pimander, supposedly written by Hermes Trismegistus, but maybe some kind of Neoplatonic reactivation of his thought. They speak of the only one thing. And out of that comes all of our manipulations and adjustments and factualities in the multiple world. But never to forget, like in the analogy of music, Hindu music, there's a bar. Call it a pedal tone or whatever. And then there's a lot of different notes and letters that come out of it. But the bar, in the language and in music, it doesn't cease. The bar keeps going. Okay. Well, is there anybody that actually, obviously writing is good because, you get to try to be exact about your thoughts. And speaking is good too, in a different way. If anybody wants to say anything, you're welcome to. It's a busy time and in this myopic world. And Tuya's just coming back from the north, and there's just loads of things to do in the myopic world. But I'm willing to entertain any, if you have something you want to say, you can certainly say it, or we just go on and on and on and on and on and on. Well, do your best to put the universe inside you. It's already there, but do your best, as I will do my best, to realize that it's already there. And don't let anything be foreign. There are no foreign countries, there are no foreign people, there are no foreign anything. Nothing really is allowed to drop out of God the Self. It's not allowed. It happens, of course, but essentially it's not allowed. And if we can keep everything in God the Self, inclusively in God the Self, as God the Self, with us being both God and the Self, we're living differently in the myopic realm than almost everybody. All those others, but of course the day will come when every apparent other will have the universe within God the Self. So I think tonight it might be angels or something like that. Let's see. I had it in my mind what it was. Let's see. What have we got here? And looks like if it's possible for Tuya, it's the invocation of the angels. And I think just go to Anne and Tuya's weekly schedule. It looks like a broadcast, you know, so it's not a conversation, at least not yet. Looks like a broadcast. Looks like it will be done on the YouTube channel. And then tomorrow morning, same time as this took place, the treatise on cosmic fire. And then we start with our sacred pentagram and preparation for the full moon and the Aries full moon coming up at the pre-full moon and the actual full moon on the 28th, at least here in Europe. Yeah, well, it looks pretty much in Australia and New Zealand, it'll be the next day, but okay, the 28th, 29th. So, you know, this is it, and you know what we're looking at here. This is that weekly schedule that Anne and Tuya have done such a great job with. And we've just done this identification as being, and then let's see if we do angels tonight. It'll depend on, you know, it's a big trip, and it'll depend on Tuya. We'll do something, of course. Cosmic fire in the morning, 6 a.m. and sacred pentagram begins in the evening. Then we just pretty well have the full moon things without other things. And here are the links in detail, all the Ask broadcasts and different different links. Yeah. Okay, friends. Well, thank you for being here and for pondering together and with me. And one day the turn comes, and one day the dragon keeps his eye open, and one day we realize what is essence, And one day we live not only in essence, but as essence. We not only detect being, we become being, which we have ever been. I guess we see what a mess words can make, but okay. The experience becomes ours. So many blessings, and let's just close with something really down to earth, which is essential in all the work we do, and that is the great invocation. And we'll so whether you do it aloud at home or not, or whatever, the great invocation. And yeah, daylight saving time, there's changes all over the world, and we'll just see what we can do to adapt to that. Here toward the end of the month, we have the same thing here in Europe, and changes our relation to Australia and to the United States and so forth. So great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out. And may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Oh. Oh. Okay, thanks everybody, and this will be put up as soon as we can on Makara, and also, on YouTube. So let your friends know if they want to get into something like this. They can review, some of what we've done. Okay, see you later. today or two you will. We'll see how it goes. Bye for now.